right, are we ready for the main event? Because bless him, poor Sting. Darby Allin and Sting against Sammy Guevara and the Painmaker. Is that referring to the pain that all of us feel in the pit of our stomach when we realize that Jericho has another self-centered gimmick he's going to pawn off on us?
He creates pain for hotel workers all throughout the land.
Hey, Derek.
As soon as he walks in.
Well, if you're in the service industry, folks, and you see a guy with a f***ing floppy black hat and makeup on his face with a kabuki mask on and spiky things coming out of his pleather jacket, run. He's not going to be happy with his service. Every day is Halloween for the cosplay crowd, and it's a tornado match, all four in the ring, anything goes. The only rule is the match has to end in the ring. Somebody's got to get pinned in the ring. Imagine that. It's their first tag team match these four people have ever had. Right?
I don't know if we've seen them in a tag team match.
It was Jericho and fucking Sting the first time they were ever in the ring.
We just got the six-man match. That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
It's the first tag team match these four fucking lunatics have ever had, and it's tornado tag, all four in the ring, anything goes. So they started with Darby and Sammy fighting on the floor, while in the ring, Jericho and Sting stood there and trash-talked each other. And then Jericho poked Sting with his baseball bat. So Sting walked over and got his bat, and they did the bat fencing thing. Clank, clank, clank. And after 2 weak gut shots, they both dropped their bats, and it turned into a four-way without bats. Brian, when's the last time you got in a fight with a fucking bat and decided, well, you know what? I'm going to drop this son of a bitch and just go mano a mano rather than cave this motherfucker's head in with a bat?
You never drop the bat. Never.
No, as a matter of fact, goddamn, I regretted I threw a bat one time and missed my target and then didn't have the bat anymore. I lost control of myself.
The move is you have to have other equipment in your trunk. So when the cops say, why do you have this bat? You go, well, I also have this baseball glove and this softball and this basketball.
Well, but I was pepper sprayed at the time, and I couldn't catch Terry Landell, so I sidearmed the bat at him, but he hopscotched it and went behind a car.
Sidearmed?
Sidearmed, yeah. Because, well,
like helicopter? You mean like a helicopter throw?
Yeah. See, the thing is, I was going to try to take him around the midsection of the legs. So rather than throwing it up and down, then if he just dodges 1 foot to the left or right, it's gone. But if you can get that thing spinning sideways, you've got a three foot radius. Anyway, so this match, Sammy pulled out a ladder and they fought on the floor with the chairs and they did some stunts with the stairs and they went to a break in this chaos with 8 minutes left on the air. And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck? And of course, they're running behind because of all this other shit they've had on the show that went way too long. You can't mean to tell me they scripted. I said it now. Well, this is phony. That they formatted that 1 6-man tag for 17 minutes on purpose. They just wouldn't leave. So anyway, they come back. They had 5 minutes left on the air. And Jericho and Sting are fighting in the arena. And Sammy gives Darby a springboard cutter off the barricade. And I wrote this as an indie mess with two of the most accomplished veterans currently still active in the business involved in it. It is degenerated into outlaw garbage. And then Darby came off the top rope to the floor with a coffin drop, which missed Jericho and almost missed Sammy, and he crashed to the floor back first, basically going... He didn't go in between him because Jericho just said, fuck it, as he went on by and watched him. But Sammy really did try to break his fall, but it didn't work. So then Darby and Sting pull out tables. And they take forever to set both of them up. And Darby, in trying to kick the leg out and make the leg stable, broke one of the legs on his table. And Taz pointed it out. Not sure if Darby wants to use that table. The leg is broken because Taz knows furniture. He worked ECW. And he was like trying to send it out by telepathy. Can you hear me, idiot? Get another table or don't do this. So then Darby sets the ladder up, the big ladder in the ring. They've got 2 tables side by side on the floor. Darby gets the ring, sets a ladder up. At this time, I wrote, where did their opponents go? Where did Jericho and Sammy go if they're that incapacitated that they're laying on the ground, immobile, while these guys set 2 tables up, then the other guy gets in the ring and sets a ladder up and then climbs up the ladder? Why not just beat them? Why go through this whole fucking erector set? Why do we have to see this shit all the fucking time? So Sammy takes forever with the ladder. Sting puts, or not Sammy, but Darby. Sting puts Sammy on the tables, and Darby has climbed the ladder, but Sting climbs the other side of the ladder and says, let me do it.
Now, if I could just say, at this point, it was clear that even for Darby, that was a hell of a jump he would have to make.
It was too fucking far. It was clear as day. It was like when I saw Brock try to do the shooting star press at WrestleMania that year. He's too fucking far. It's too fucking far. So, Sting climbs up and says, let me do it. And Darby, after they talk about, oh, really? Yes, indubitably. Oh, indubitably? Yes, really. Then you do it, Stanley. And so Darby climbs down and Sting turns around and Sammy's still laying on that fucking table. Those tables. And Taz is saying, it's too far away. He'll never make it. And Sting, he's not on the top of the ladder because he's 60 fucking 4 and he's got some sense. He's 4 or 5 rungs down, but it's in the ring. So from the ground, he's got to be, his feet are 12 feet up. And he fucking takes off and tries to splash Sammy through both of these tables. Now, as you will recall, the far one has a broken leg on it. The leg is not connected to the table anymore. It's propped up right, but there's no bracket connecting it. So as soon as anybody wiggles it, it's going to collapse. But fortunately, I say for Sting, he didn't get there anyway. He was not only short, but he was 2 feet to the left. Instead of splashing Sammy on top of both tables, his face came down onto Sammy's knee. And the rest of Sting fell short, and he broke the first table because there was enough weight on the first table. The second table just slowly collapsed and turned over when that leg gave way. Because Sammy was still laying on it because only part of this thing broke. But the point is, when Sting landed with his face and chest on Sammy's knee and legs and the edge of the table, he knocked his fucking tooth out, apparently. At least that's what he said on social media later on, and you see him instantly grabbing his mouth and checking his teeth. But here's what would have happened if he hadn't knocked his own tooth out by coming up short. Brian, the table closest to him broke in half as it was supposed to. The other table probably wouldn't have broken in half because if enough motion and force came down on it, it would have caused that table with one broken leg to collapse on one side, and one side would have been standing up while the other side would have been flat down. If Sting had landed on both of those, it broke one, but the other one went sideways, and he's already splashing a motherfucker that's just been bent down into that table, I say that by physics, it would have bent Sting backwards at a 45-degree angle on his spine in the direction he's not supposed to bend naturally and broke his back. What do you think?
There was no good ending. I mean, it was clear from the moment he started climbing the ladder. He's jumping off a ladder. He's not even jumping off the ropes. Jumping off a ladder, and it was too far away. There was no good ending. This is the guy that a few years ago we were talking about how sad it was his career ended because of a buckle bomb.
Yes.
A buckle bomb. And he did this here. You say he knocked out his tooth. It looked like he may have cut his, maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like there was some blood.
Oh, yeah, well,
you
yes.
know, under his jaw.
I'm sure it either cut his chin open or cut his lip open, or I can tell you from experience, when you get a tooth knocked out, there's some blood accompanying said tooth.
And you know what? When you see Sting and you know he's hurt, it's not like seeing Sting 30 years ago and knowing he's hurt. Now you know he's an old guy and he's hurt. It makes the match a little awkward to watch.
But again, why do you want to? He wants to because he wants to hang with the kids, and I'm sure their enthusiasm is infectious for him, and he's making 7 figures a year. But god damn, don't allow him to do that. Discourage it, if not outright forbid it. What is the use? Anyway, continuing on, they're out of the fucking picture now. Darby comes off the top rope with a skateboard onto Jericho's back and gets a 2 count. And then Jericho hits Darby with a ladder twice. But fortunately, Darby's not injured because he reverses an arm whip and runs Jericho into the ladder. Then Jericho hits Darby with a skateboard and the Judas elbow. Darby falls to the floor. Sting comes back in the ring. And Jericho gets the walls of Jericho on Sting. And then it was 10 o'clock and my DVR froze. What the fuck happened?
They had 2 minutes of overrun, and finally...
Purposely, or because they were unable to get the goddamn thing in on time?
I don't know, because again, a lot of things seem like they went a long time, but also the match that was going to be Britt Baker's match went really short. You have to think that would have gone longer if Britt Baker was here. I don't know how any of that throws off the time, but 2-minute overrun.
Well, what happened?
I don't remember.
Well, good. And nobody else does either.